Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you would be in a good mood and sound health. You have passed the class ninth examinations, now you are in class 10th. Dear students, you should go to nearby coaching centers or tuition centers or the government opened winter tutorials that shall be opened shortly so that you can facilitate yourself physically. This virtual mode can't be it is the substitute for the actual mode of teaching. Dear students, the COVID 19 pandemic is still mounting pressure on the entire globe, and J&K is never any exception. So, you have to keep yourselves well facilitated by these centers, tuition centers, or any other mean so that you can value your time because now you are in class 10th. Dear students, today we are dealing with your first physics chapter, that's the light. Dear students, light is the form of energy, or we can say it's the form of electromagnetic radiation which travels in the form of wave and consists of the atoms called photons, and light cause sensation to the human eyes, or in sensation in human eyes, by which we can see the objects clearly. Dear students, light needs medium to travel. Just I need a path to move from one place to another place. Similarly, light needs medium to travel, but for light, vacuum is also medium. Air, water, glass, vacuum, or it is media. Dear student, so you have to simply keep in the mind that it is the form of electromagnetic radiation that cause sensation in human eyes by which we see the objects. It has particle nature as well as the wave nature. That is why it has dual nature, and it is made up of the photons, or we can say the atoms that are that is the present in light are called the photons. Dear students, the three main things are associated with light when it comes from a source. Either it uh, transmits, or we can say it passes, or it gets absorbed, or simply it is reflected. When a light falls on an object, say a plane mirror, some part of a light reflects back, and this process is called the reflection. So simply in first chapter there is light, reflection and refraction. You have to keep in the mind where from the light comes, this is called the source, and three things are associated with light: either light reflects or passes or it gets absorbed. So when light falls on an object, say plane mirror, some part of light reflects back, and the process is called the reflection, or the light is bounced back is called the reflection. Dear students, so simple you have to keep in the mind that in one media the light travels in a straight light. For example, if it travels in air, if it travels in glass, it travels in straight line, and this property of light is called the rectilinear propagation of light. I'm repeating the things. Light is the form of energy or electromagnetic radiation that cause sensation in eyes by which we see objects clearly. Dear students, there are three things that are associated to light, that it either passes or reflects or gets absorbed, and where from the light comes, it's called the source. For example, the sun, the candle, the electric bulb, where from the light comes, it is called the source of the light. And when a light falls on an object, some part of light uh, is bounced back, is reflected, is called the reflection of light. So when light falls, for example, on a plane surface, the light which strikes that surface is called the incident light, and which the light which reflects from that very surface is called the reflected light. And if we draw a straight line, an imaginary line from that very surface perpendicular to that very surface, this is called the normal. So it is reflected ray, the incident ray, the normal and the reflected ray lie at the same point of lie at the same plane at the point of incidence. This is the first law of the reflection. And when light travels and strikes an object, that is the incident ray, and some part of it is bounced back, that is the reflected ray. And if a line is drawn perpendicular to the surface, that is the normal, and which divides the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection, because incident ray makes angle with the normal, that's called the angle of incidence, and similarly it makes the angle with the reflected ray, that's called the angle of reflection, and angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. This is the second law of the reflection. So simply you have to keep in the mind the incident ray, the reflected ray and the normal lie at the same point at the point of incidence, same plane at the point of incidence. This is called the first law of reflection. And incident ray makes angle with the normal, this is called the angle of incidence, and we denote it with I, that's angle I. And the reflected ray makes also angle with the normal, we that's called the angle of reflection, and we denote it with R, and angle I is equal to angle R. This is the second law of reflection. In Kashmiri, light is a form of energy. Yet pet iman stats on a source of light. चूंकि अत डबल नेचर यह मत पार्टिकल नेचर तो वेव तो इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक रेडिएशन यह सेंसेशन करान यह फीलिंग करान क्रिएट अचन मज यम सत चीज बोजन लाइट सत त्रे चीज जुड़ित या गि लाइट पास नत गि रेफ्लेक्ट नत गि एब्जॉर्व गो युथु कुछ चीज़ पे पेवान से प्लेन सरफेस पे प्लेन मिररस पे निवान युथु स्ट्राइक गसान तथ वन लाइट स्ट्राइक तथ वन इंसिडेंट रे अम लाइट हूँ कह पार्ट वापस गसान तथ वन रिफ्लेक्टेड रे अगर अत सरफेस पे डायरेक्ट अख लाइन त्रो परपेंडिकुलर इमेजिनरी लाइन सह बन नॉर्मल नॉर्मल कर एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस द एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन डिवाइड द एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस द एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन इक्वल हमेशा इक्वल यह गो सेकंड लॉ ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन मगर गोड़ थवन दिल याद इंसिडेंट रे रिफ्लेक्टेड रे तो नॉर्मल हम कर लाई एक पॉइंट्स पे एक प्लानस पे एट द पॉइंट ऑफ इंसिडेंस यह सेकंड लॉ ऑफ यह गो फर्स्ट लॉ ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन मगर थवन याद कि लाइट इज फॉर्म ऑफ एनर्जी युस सेंसेशन करान अयन अचन मज क्रिएट या फीलिंग करान फिजिकल फीलिंग क्रिएट करान यम सत बोजन चीज सो ये पे लाइट तथ वन सोर्स ऑफ लाइट सो अत गि मीडियम पकन खतर आयर मीडियम गिलास मीडियम वाटर मीडियम इवन लाइट खतर वैक्यूम तो मीडियम पर कह चीज लाइट सत जुड़ित यमन आम फिजिक्स हेकान नॉर्मल फिजिक्स आंसर दित कह तिमन वन पे मतलब आइंस्टाइन फिजिक्स तथ आंसर दिवान. Dear students, this is just introduction about the light. Hope you might have grasped the concept. In case of any query, you can forward your query to me or the better science teacher, because I am handling the task to teach you science. Otherwise, I am not science teacher. You can also contact your science teacher to get the things well. Thanks. Be well, I said.